Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today we're hanging on 1 vs 1 right off the bat. It's a game from the qualified tournament thingy for that WMD tournament. Fighting in the northern corner shall be Clinkeroth. I have absolutely no idea who he is, but he's fighting for the Americans, fighting for the first. Opposing him shall be GP Tititwister, ever lovely, ever sophisticated, ever sounding like a bar in From Dusk Till Dawn. Fighting for the Wehrmacht. Yes, indeed, the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 2nd Panzer Division. And let us see how this one will work out. We're seeing a barracks up rifle, and so far the usual sort of American start, although again there have been a bit more diversification now with the 3 engineer start and the 4 engineer start. But he's more conservative, Clinkeroth, not being some sort of dashing American rogue. He's more the stuffy American commander, sticking to what he knows. Bit of discussion going on between them. I do believe this is the second game in their round between each other. Some talk about med bunkers and veteran infantry. Riflemen heading out there, securing points there, while the engineers are going for all the sort of valuable points like the fuel, like the munitions. Although, interesting enough, ignoring that piece of munitions. So not sure why. Of course, up to see what happens with that. And he's going straight for the victory point right off the bat. That's a bit more unusual with the more veteran players, and I believe Tititwister is sort of reasonably high ranked. Although I might be wrong there, but still, usually don't see players go right for the victory points. I mean, usually they will go for them at some stage, but usually, you first get the resources, then you begin sort of going for the victory points. But it could be sort of a ploy to sort of put on the pressure of his opponent, or sort of try to give an early victory point start. And there might also be something with victory points and tournament games, though I'm not entirely privy to that. First engagement here. Engineers taking up position in the build. Volksgrenadiers open up with a K98 case and the Sturmgewehr 44, single shot mode, and it could fire in single shot. Flaps being a bit uncooperative as of late. Small engagement here, Rifleman going after the Pioneers. Pioneers running towards the building, which can watch over this area, which can be nasty, can be tiresome. But in this case, it's just going to be sanctuary for the Pioneers while they sort of figure out how to get themselves out of this mess. Riflemen, though, are taking some damage as they're running about. Riflemen pushing in here, building, of course, still secured by the engineers, so this can actually be a bit of a nasty situation for the Volksgrenadiers. And there we go, quickly moving up some Riflemen. Volksgrenadiers pulling back towards a slightly more secure position. MG42 moving up. Pioneers trying to go for that high munitions point. Again, this is the only high munitions point on this map, but it can also be a bit hard to defend. Of course, there's some advantage from sneaking in here, or possibly there, or even there. Pioneers though being run off. MG42 looks like trying to be sneaking up on the flank, and perhaps set off its own little flanking attempt, although usually don't see support units doing that. Or he might be trying to stop this munition point from being secured by those Amerikaner of the 1st Infantry Division. Pioneers being run off by other riflemen. This is looking a bit unfortunate for Mr. GP, which we shall refer him to. That is the more polite thing to do, I believe. Might be children watching this, in which case I've probably already said a lot of things I shouldn't have in all those other episodes, but still, let's try for some decorum, some class. And Riflemen are sneaking about here, jolly good, pretty aggressive from Clinkeroth right off the bat. More Volksgrenadiers on the way though for GP. Riflemen in here, no attempt at taking up position there, although the MG42 might do so. And establish a strong point for the Wehrmacht. And more Pioneers being run off for those Riflemen. Those Riflemen really prone to a pain in the ass for GP's Pioneers. Volksgrenadiers moving up, hoping to get off a good shot or two, but the American Riflemen do get out of there before it's too late. And then proceed to sneak up here again. Good aggression, good harassment from the American commander. A bit of problem there for GP to sort of really react to this. Also, he might want to consider putting some barbed wire up here if he intends to have the MG stay in the building, so it doesn't get so easily attacked, so the troops can't get in with flamethrowers or grenades. In case he actually decides to launch an all-out attack, and that's usually what I'd recommend anyways. Volksgrenadiers moving up, Riflemen trying to move through the center once more, and looks like another MG42. Kampfkraft sent up, he's going for a pretty heavy Tier 1, which of course couldn't mean he's already planning to basically after this go for the 3rd tier, get some armored cars, and also get some assets to deal with any sort of armored car business or BARs, depending on what Mr. Clinkeroth goes for himself. It can be a bit risky, but apparently that what GP feels is the right thing to do.
Losing ground out there.
And I can't fully advise against it. I mean, it can work, though it certainly also depends on what sort of things Mr. Clinkeroth does, because if he runs into some problems with Mr. GP, things could get ugly. Riflemen, though, are pushing in. Looks like they're gathering for a pretty huge assault in a pretty large group. They have to be careful with that. Be very careful. He could also get a supply out very soon. I would recommend that. He's certainly getting already there. Manpower drain there on the supply upkeep. And there we go. Why you shouldn't be climbing up like that. Barn has been secured by another MG42 team, which is causing quite a bit of a problem here for Clinkeroth's troops. And he is at the same time continuing down here. In fact, it might have been wiser to sort of try and break through here and actually sort of try to go for these points, thus cutting off GP from his resources fully and also forcing away from these buildings. And of course any sort of reinforcements to the defenses that might be made here, like, you know, sandbags and barbed wire. But so far, nothing like that from GP. Feeling he has better things to do. No, he's actually going for Krieg barracks. Quite interesting. I would have figured he might have gone for the Sturm Armory, but you can always be surprised. You can always learn. Rather than pressing through down the center. I mean, so far, there's been no real major engagement between the American commander and the Wehrmacht commander, either sort of quickly pulling back. And the MG is certainly providing a nice line of fire as well. But 2 MGs, 2 Volksgrenadiers. One of the more regular Wehrmacht starts. There's also the 3 Volksgrenadiers, 1 MG. 2 Volksgrenadier sniper and an MG, and so on. Sort of minor variations. Usually you don't vary the number of pioneers, although some might feel cheeky enough to do that. But having secured a pretty decent front line right here, GP seems to be doing alright for now. Going for the cutoff point, hoping to deny the American fuel here, but of course they do have all of this. And for that, GP is rather letting in a very small amount of troops to actually handle that. Only 1 team of grenadiers. I imagine he might be getting a pack. And there we go, motor pool on the way for Clinkeroth. Would certainly be able to also take advantage of some of all that fuel he has there. At this stage, it might also be an idea to perhaps consider getting a medic station at some stage, or some grenades. And there we go, Panzerabwehrkanone 36, sort of what you'd usually expect. Again, he's seen absolutely no upgrades for the American commander of Clinkeroth, thus he can pretty much expect either he's really delaying it for some sort of sneaky tricks, some commanders do that, perhaps also laying in with some weapon support sensor, or of course he's going for some sort of vehicle or armor. And usually the longer you see without anything else, usually it means something big, and if you really don't see a lot of anything from the Americans sometime besides riflemen and engineers, he's probably going for armor, in which case you really want to prepare for that.
Forward supply lines are broken.
Going for the fuel pump once more, riflemen pushing in there. And there we go, going for the weak side of this house, and sadly there was no attempt by GP to sort of reinforce this or make it a bit harder to take by using barbed wire. Volksgrenadiers rather quickly get it run off. Bit of problem here for Clinkeroth's rifleman. Again, the MG42 and the old barn proving to be quite a problem. And there we go, the first Greyhound out for Clinkeroth. Will there be more? Might not be, because he's expending all of his munitions into that one tiny little armored car. In fact, also looks like GP is getting several armored cars, perhaps to sort of cover several fronts, hoping to not be avoided, to actually sort of focus the fire of the anti-tank guns into one area. Which certainly could not be bad either, because they do have a bit of a problem actually hitting an armored car. Or at least they do when they're under my command for some reason. Volkswagen is pushing off here for the minor offensive, trying to drive off the Americans. Some MP4s getting equipped. And the M8 moves up here. Oh, MG42 fires back in vain, but it's not really going to do much. 50 caliber now joining in the fun as well. MG gunner down. Tot. Getötet. Oh, a mine killing 1 rifleman, and no one died actually. Apparently he had died already, the other fellow. But Mr. Clinkeroth quickly exploiting, of course, this gap in the Wehrmacht lines. This is good. There's absolutely nothing here, so of course, quickly, and also try to get that point back. Clinkeroth, forward. Volkswagen is staying at the edges, building sort of being occupied by riflemen, creating a bit of a strong point. Fraps being a bit... Let's go have a look at GP. No doctrinal choice as of yet. Rather than again sort of creating a strong point, making it a bit harder, and certainly MP40s do suffer some penalties for actually trying to hit units inside buildings. They're less accurate and do less damage, and they do quite a little less damage. I believe it's about half of both accuracy and damage. Looks like the riflemen pulling out. M8 moving in here though. Pack might be wanting to move over here to sort of provide cover there. Will it be enough, or will the M8 do its dirty deed? Setting upon the Volksgrenadiers. Though getting off a Panzerfaust. And the M8 gets damaged. Volksgrenadiers get run off. Poor Hans went down. Hans frozen in terror. Except his face doesn't really look like sort of it's terrified, more like he's a mannequin. Or a doll, or whatever you'd call that. More riflemen pushing up. No medic station. I'd love to see that for Clinkeroth. That's only also love to see a medic bunker for Mr. GP. Perhaps some Grenadiers. No, he's instead getting a Sturmarmy and getting a Sturmgeschütz. Jolly good, jolly good. Sturmgeschütz, lovely little piece of Wehrmacht goods. And these engineers run to us like probably with this MG42. Volkswagen's moving up here with MP40s. Not a lot of cover, no veterancy. They're quite wounded, but the riflemen actually pull out of there. Not quite feeling confident, pulling up to their friends by the house. Hoping to get a bottle of wine or perhaps some grenades passed out to them. But those cheap bastards inside want it all for themselves. Damn them. Not interesting enough, there are no upgrades so far. Looks like for the Americans, no grenades, no BARs. For example, even some grenades can really make a difference when you're sort of trying to flank one grenade and your opponent can really be in a lot of trouble. And there we go, Sturmgeschütz 4 pulled up. There. No apologies right there. Not the most numerous Sturmgeschütz. That was the Stug 3, of which there was about, more specifically the Stug 3G, about 8,000, close to 9,000 made. Stug only about 1,000. Still, they did their bit. Was basically made to make up for losses in Stug 3G production when some of the factories were bombed by Allied war efforts. Not quite something the Allied had to worry about in the Germans bombing their production facilities. All a bit quiet. Armored car getting repaired. There's probably going to be an anti-tank gun pulling up. Yes, indeed, anti-tank gun here. The 57mm. I mean, M1 was actually basically the 6-pounder British anti-tank gun, which the Americans just used because they didn't have anything bigger than their 37mm gun themselves, and they needed something quickly. And so they went to the British, who provided them with the design. It's a fun little fact there. There was a lot of that sort of changing in between sides. Also the Bofors, which was a Swedish gun. A Swedish anti-aircraft gun, which was also used by the Axis. In fact, the Finns, the Hungarians, and the Romanians used the Bofors for anti-aircraft assets. They even had a anti-aircraft tank called the Landsberg II. Or in the case of the Hungarians, who made some slight modifications on their own license, called it the Nimrod, which basically means Great Hunter, which was later sort of mocked and turned into sort of meaning you're an idiot, due to Bugs Bunny in a cartoon sort of making fun of him with thud. MG42 doing its best here. Veterancy up for the infantry of the Wehrmacht finally. Armored car arriving. Panzerspähwagen. Schwerer Panzerspähwagen, which was later of course upgraded with a 50mm gun to become the Puma. Was one of the primary armored cars. There was also the other one, you know, the one we see with the Panzerleap, but that was actually phased out because it wasn't really good at different sorts of terrain and was actually replaced with the infantry half-tech, which had been converted into an armored car as well. Or the sort of light one we see with the Panzerleap. And armored cars, to be careful, the Sturmgeschütz moving in. 75mm gun. Though it seems to be quite eager and missing. Quite eager indeed. Also, I do believe regarding snipers that the American snipers never really were that good. They were basically just more marksmen who were really good at shooting. They didn't really have any sort of actual sniper training. That was more the Germans and the Russians during World War II, which really had sort of their sniper business on.
Reporting.
In fact, you can Google up a sniper training video for the Germans for a Luftwaffe field division. Quite interesting stuff. And armored car sets upon the poor unfortunate rifleman who quickly turn away. Still no medic station though. I mean, he does have a lot of infantry, but no medic station. I do feel that's quite a bigger mess. Though he is getting supplies, and of course, unlike me, he does have a bloody triage center. Of course, I can't fault him on that. Mine hit. Oh dear, the armored car taking quite a bit of damage. Engine damage. Oh dear. What happens if an armored car sets in? There we go. Moving in with the 37. He's gotten veterans forward. Great job, but it might be too late. Pioneers got gunned down by the 50 caliber. Oh dear, and there we go. Schwere Panzer Spähwagen knocked out. Sniper joining in as well. Weapon supply support center up. 2 kills already. Will there be a counter sniper for GP? Yes, indeed, he already has a sniper out. Moving him up as well, sneaking through the fields of France. There we go. Sturmgeschütz gets off a nice kill. Does have a bit of splash damage, we can do alright against infantry occasionally, although it really gets good when you get veterancy 2 up against it, with it, preferably veterancy 3, then it can really become a nice assault gun. And a bit of quiet, no veterancy upgrades. Interesting enough, he's not gotten veterancy for his Sturmgeschütz. And still no doctrinal choice, no blitzkrieg, no terror, no defensive. So that's also rather noteworthy. I'm sort of trying to get my keyboard being a bit more stable for some reason. There we go. No point in that wobbling about. Armored car moves in, but this time there's a pack ready. Panzer Abwehrkanone. Gunner firing heroically. And of course misses less heroically. Volksgrenadiers with MP40s taking heavy losses. More mines though. Good to see those mines, but would also be nice to see some barbed wire or sandbags. Sniper holds his trigger finger, hoping to basically lure in the Germans, the American sniper. Although I suppose the trick might also be to basically just fire and reveal himself, and of course then you wonder why might he do that, but there's might be the thought that, you know, the other sniper would be getting a lot more careful because he doesn't fancy getting sniped in the face. That's a bit more theoretical, so I wouldn't always advise that. Another sniper getting ready. He's banking pretty hard on getting him. And perhaps also getting some additional manpower drain on Clinkeroth. And more mines are getting hit. Apparently some mines were actually pretty damn close. German and American mines. That was fun. And there we go. Sniper fighting going on here. And now he's... oh, sneaky that. He's basically hoping to get the Americans. No, he's just firing away madly now. He doesn't care. He knows that if he tries to counter sniper, of course, he might lose one sniper, but he might actually get the American snipers. He's actually making a bit of a gamble there, although of course it might not work. That's how such things are. Armored car moving in. He's getting pretty bold. Anti-tank and fire. Oh, he lost the M8, which was veterancy 1. What a waste. What a waste, Clinkeroth. And the American anti-tank gun got cleared out by the snipers as well. At least by the looks of it. That was a pretty nasty setback for Clinkeroth. All the riflemen are pushing through there. Actually haven't gotten BAR. Sorry for not noticing that. The Browning automatic rifle, World War I weapon, although it came pretty late. So it didn't really get used. Although it was licensed out to a few nations, I do believe in, for example, the Polish army used it. Sort of right fires a vote for them. And there we go, another anti-tank gun once more. Getting sniped, nothing to really stop those damned snipers. And there we go, anti-tank gun cleared out. Another obstacle of the 2nd Panzer Division removed. I would be a lot more comfortable though if you got some veterancy for those Sturmgeschütz. Nebelwerfer ready. Large assault by the Americans moving in. Lots of mines though, quite a few mines from Clinkeroth here and there. Volksgrenadiers getting burned, shot and other horrible things. Running away, more MP40 equipped Volksgrenadiers. No medic bunker though. Not a lot of infantry. Riflemen hoping to actually get it. Or perhaps getting those snipers more specifically. Taking up position here. Pioneers in a slightly bad position though, having salvaged the armored car for munitions.
losing territory.
And another blow to Clinkeroth, I fear. In the meanwhile, though, the Americans continue their tour of harassment on the Western Front. And some lonely Volksgrenadiers marching up. Forcing away those dastardly Americans with a good dose of MP45. Even scoring 1 kill. Absolutely. And then hitting a mine. Less amazing. Apparently they both only gotten 1 kill. That's quite interesting. Says something about the fighting between the rifle and the Volksgrenadiers has not really been heavy. And I, of course, could argue that Clinkeroth has not been even aggressive, or just that GP has not been very fortunate with his Volksgrenadiers. And there we go, heavy losses. American sniper now decides to say, what? Never mind that, and actually snipes the Volksgrenadiers. And the German snipers actually continue in. Oh, mine, so close. Oh, dear, that was bloody close. And he walks back. Oh. And he actually gets killed. Actually, the mine sort of revealed him, and he sort of... What was that? And then kaboom! Sniper toot! And the... Oh, the bike got knocked out by the anti-tank gun. And now we're hearing artillery. He's gone infantry. He's gone infantry. It's actually time to have a look at Clinkeroth. Artillery firing. Sniper barely makes it away. Nebelwerfer opens up in return. He's even got some more off-map artillery ready to push the effort. And the western half of the map is being secured. Volksgrenadiers so counter-attacking rather quickly.
We can now support rapid deployment.
What are my coordinates?
This first howitzer barrage though really didn't do much. Now he seems to be floating a lot of resources, though he does have full supplied upgrades. That's great.
Ground out there.
Though he's lacking a bit fuel, though might consider getting an observation post, I suppose. Could be an idea. Could work. Could work. Against those dreaded Wehrmacht fellows. And GP quickly getting a replacement sniper. Again, is getting sniped. Sturk's trying to knock out that anti-tank gun. Bit of talk about luck. Assault on several flanks. Points.
Losing ground out there.
I've been getting past the MG42 quickly pulling back. Anti-tanker getting recruited. Sturk under fire. Taking quite a bit of damage. Flamethrowers also moving in. Nice attack, nice attack. More anti-tank guns on the way. Could of course also get another howitzer. He certainly has the resources for it. But really, I'm to open up with a lot. And now calling in artillery on the MG42. Will GP discover this? No! Oh dear, 2 gunners already killed. 3rd gunner killed. Oh dear, the MG42 could in fact be completely wrecked. Even the anti-tank gun takes a bit of fire, but that somehow survives it all.
Heavy infantry reserves are now available.
Rangers now getting called in apparently. Submachine guns being equipped. Rangers lead the way for the first. Snipers though continuing their
Territory.
dastardly deeds.
It's a goddamn hornet's nest here. This war isn't gonna win itself.
And snipers are quickly getting out of the area. Probably figuring that once they heard that thunder, it was not bad weather. It was American artillery. And hose and spray. Thompson submachine spray. I mean, not spray. That's for pets, but there we go. Moving in with Thompson and bazooka. Volksgrenadiers running with the MP40s. Pieces of wood blowing part next to them, and the Americans keep continuing in this area, keep securing that munitions, which could certainly prove to be a problem for Mr. GP. Snipers though doing quite a bit of damage to the Rangers. Of course, note Rangers have elite armor like Veterans 2 Grenadiers, and thus the snipers can actually hit them even if they retreat. Little fun fact there. Little fun facts there.
Objective secured. Rifle squad defending.
Volksgrenadiers moving up. But they might be running into a lot of problem again, being run off by American forces. Clinkeroth seems a bit unsure, and it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is a bit either way. The Americans are holding most of the map, but they've not really been able to really deal GP any sort of decisive blows. He still has the majority of his units. He lost one armored car. That seems, and an MG42. That's about it. But he still has a lot of things that could really push, and he also has a lot of munitions, which could also be really pushed if he chooses a doctrine like, say, goes for terror, gets a firestorm, then he could actually make some pretty nasty blows. He actually has gone for terror. I believe he might be on forced retreat. Though I might be wrong. That certainly wouldn't be a bad thing either. But certainly some sort of munitions reliability could be no good. And of course he's gone terror. He could also get a King Tiger. Though again he might also want to consider getting a Panzer Command and getting some Panzers out. I'd also recommend either side to get either medic station or medic bunker. Just get some medics. Medic! And let's return to the fight. Volkswagen is getting run off again. They don't quite seem to have any luck with that. Americans holding most of the victory points, but now the Germans are taking back what they can. Snipers moving up on the west flank. Nebula for firing. Has to be careful, has to move. It has to remember, of course, it's in this line of targeting for a howitzer. And there might be some counter-artillery fire from that. And yes, indeed, looks like it, looks like it. Will it happen? And yes, indeed, counter-artillery fire against Nebelwerfer. Panzer Command going out at the same time, and it actually flies in, hitting it, forcing GP to cancel it. And there we go, Nebelwerfer hit crew dead, utterly dead. And that's usually when you get a Nebelwerfer and you know your opponent has an howitzer, you usually move it between barrages, otherwise, just in case, so you usually can avoid it. Of course, he fires while you're firing. But that's going to be a bit more rarer, but still, try to move it between shots. Or consider, and I'd also consider in that case getting veteran C2 as that actually makes the Nebelwerfer move faster. Which can also help avoiding counter battery fire from the Americans or the British.
105 ready.
Rangers and riflemen moving up there. Volkswagen is left on their own. Again, he's spreading out his infantry a bit too much. And seems to be relying on his snipers mostly for all the manpower damage. Riflemen are not doing too well. American snipers, now there's two of them in fact, but he doesn't quite seem to be managing much with them, not trying to catch those German crouch snipers. Stuke on the move. Panzer Command going out again. Stuke seems pretty aggressive, moving up on his own. Oh dear, and there we go, getting attacked. Anti-tank guns moving up. Rifleman could be home to get over a sticky bomb. No, MG42 to the rescue. Snipers continue their reign of terror in the west, but looks like the riflemen and Rangers are moving in. They could hope to be catching those snipers. There we go, they expose themselves and they are forced to run. Looks like they will make it out of there. Quite fortunate for GP, less fortunate for Clinkeroth, who might be a bit wrathful. There we go, artillery against the MG42, allowing infantry to move in against that Sturmgeschütz. There we go. Another MG42 bites the dust, absolutely blown to bits. Panzer Command, though, is up. 2nd Panzer Division now really able to call in that most necessary artillery. And once more, all a bit quiet.
New recruits in. We're back to full strength.
Again, he's floating on our resources. I suspect he sort of might be hoping for the sort of off-map combat group, or he's just getting more Rangers. I suppose, if in doubt, call in the Rangers. But looks like GP is onto that, if in doubt. And you see a lot of infantry, get an Ostwind, blow the buggers down, and pretend they're aircraft, I suppose.
Ready to get this done.
Again, the Ostwind, though, really didn't serve in Normandy. It was much later about this sort of Battle of the Bulge fighting the Ardennes. More likely it would have been the Möbelwagen, which was a slightly more odd-looking flak Panzer IV, though based on the Panzer IV. I believe that might also have been some Wheelwind, otherwise it would have been the flak Panzer 38C, or basically half-tracks, which really were sort of the majority of the anti-aircraft vehicles. That's just, of course, a little detail. More artillery fire and support. Oh my bugger! Both snipers went down to an artillery shell. That was Oh dear. They've certainly done quite a bit of damage. I imagine they've earned themselves in, but still, that was 680 manpower gone in one barrage. Knights Cross are able to take over the position. Ritterkreuz with Sturmgewehrs. Volkskriegs with MP40. This is quite the assault force. This is clearly veteran 2nd Panzer Division Panzer Grenadiers. Veterans of the Eastern Front. Instructors and all and such. Oh, they're running into a mine then, getting sniped. Going though for the assault. Will it be enough? And yes, Knights Cross can actually assault no matter what. But they do get pushed off the mine, doing too much. Oh dear, heavy losses for the 2nd Panzer Division Infantry as they're getting run off and hitting so many mines. Jolly good job there with the mines by Clinkeroth. Certainly saved him right there. Although again, that howitzer really did a lot of damage. Now he really needs though to push the advantage. He knows the Germans is lacking 2 snipers. Push, for heaven's sake, push. I'd also recommend getting a tank deeper. I mean, he does have the option for armor. I do believe he might actually have at this stage spotted the Ostwinds, though I might be wrong. Either way, the NOS Sherman could be good work. A tank destroyer as well. We'll of course have to see, but there we go, going for the munitions. Coming tonight to the Krauts, to the Bosch, the Hun. Pioneers getting snapped by the American sniper, who basically have free reign now. No, actually he hasn't gone for terrorism. Never mind then. Ostwind moving in. The grim realization, of course, is upon Clinkeroth. Artillery firing. Will Clinkeroth push the advantage? And quickly, though, GP is getting replacement snipers. Because, of course, he still has those Knights Cross. Ritterkreuz. No further veterancy for them, though. Would be a nice thing, I think.
To fight with utmost zeal.
Nebelwerfer even gets recruited by some plucky Volksgrenadiers. Oh, jolly good. And once more the Knights Cross move in with their assault rifles. Getting sniped, and of course Knights Cross is pretty much one of the few units, except some officer types, that can actually survive several shots from a sniper. And leading the way for the lesser able Volksgrenadiers, they do a lot of damage. The Rangers nearby, Ostwind also nearby, and a forced retreat. Huzzah! Hurrah! Still no medic station. Come on, Clinkeroth, I know you can do it. And stop floating so damn many resources. Sniper though finally gets a Knights Cross. Flamethrowers moving in as well. Knights Cross though continue regardless. Carrying about casualties is for allied sissies, not for the Knights Cross. And they do manage to clear out that anti-tank gun. Heroes of the Reich indeed. And now a push by GP running right into the anti-tank gun. Knights Cross though taking heavy losses, forced off. Stu could be going out of control, has to be careful. One more round and there we go. Sturmgeschütz down, kaput. That was less fortunate. Volkskriegs holding the eastern flank. Americans pushing through there. Stug down. Center could be open if Clinkeroth got some armor. And of course, if those packs were to reveal themselves, he does have the howitzer to knock that out. Continuing here, no forced retreat saves the flank. And certainly looks like GP has munitions for a few more. Volkskriegs getting stopped, though. Suppressive fire from the riflemen. Good to see, good to see. Victory points going back into the hands of the 2nd Panzer Division. Ostwind keeps firing away, nothing to stop that. And a Nebelwerfer fire wrecks across the sky, setting fire to the barn. Neat anti-tank guns and a bit other things. Pioneers caught in the center. Will they make it out of there? Oh no. A massacre.
Your orders?
And looks like though in general GP has taken quite a few losses. But he's getting back into the fight. He's not giving up. Despite the fact that GP has managed to return once more with a vengeance. I mean Clinkeroth. So sort of bit back and forth so far. But again, medic station really would help Clinkeroth, I think. And so would some armor, damn it. But again, doesn't quite seem interested in that. And now we're seeing a second sniper out again. So 2 snipers once more for GP. Supporting the advance of the Volksgrenadiers and the Knight's Cross. Rather severe Sturm section, I'd say. The Knight's Cross leading the way. And the anti-tank gun gets caught in this whirlwind of automatic fire. And they're actually firing it away. Shoot this anti-tank gun. Why, sir? It's committed the crime of shooting at German panzers. I'm not really sure how else you can really justify this, I suppose. Still does quite a bit. Ow! Artillery! Several losses, but the man's making it out of there. Snipers and Austrians stopping the Americans from advancing. And of course, the snipers will cause a few problems. Where the American snipers, actually. One is there, the other's here. Not really. So they're not really getting any kills. I mean, so far one has gotten 2, and the other one hasn't killed a single thing.
We have lost a unit.
More artillery fire, though. Oh dear, he got one of the American snipers. Either a mine or a Nebelwerfer or something. Bullshit, you know, never mind that you killed 2 snipers with 1 howitzer shot, but, you know, if you lose 1 sniper, it's bullshit, yes. That's real mature, Clinkeroth. Real mature. I'm really impressed. Yes, I'll stop being sarcastic. I will, though, getting ready again. Lots of Volksgrenadiers. Knight's Cross. That seems to be his only infantry. Now he's actually getting some veterancy forward, some further veterancy. That's good. That's what we like to see. And let's speed this up a bit. And then immediately again hit a mine. There really seems to be something about those mines. And there we go. Knight's Cross, though, getting gunned down. Assault once more. Get off a grenade. Stunning 1 rifleman. Oh, poor Joe. And force retreat, revealing 1 of the snipers. Oh, dear. Oh, both German snipers miss. And now we can call him the King Tiger, die Königstiger. Die Tiger des Königs. Or the Tiger 2. And there we go, veterancy 2 infantry. That's really going to be a problem in terms of the Knight's Cross, I suppose. And we're seeing an off-map combat group. Finally, what he's been waiting for. And he gets a Greyhound and 2 anti-tank guns and some riflemen. And they can't get out. Oh, dear. Let's speed this up until the American counter-attack moves in. Armored car moving out. Rangers caught in the middle of everything. And mech moves up, fully upgraded. And you do get units like any vehicles are fully upgraded when they arrive with the off-map combat group. Although that really only applies to the Greyhound and the Hellcat. Engineers moving up the center, they're running into bikes. And the bike, oh dear, might be destroyed by the engineers. Or will the bike actually get the engineers? No, the bike goes down. Pack gets hammered. Will there be counter-artillery fire? Will there be a shot from this 105mm howitzer? Apparently not. Wait, there we go. For some reason, right in the middle of nothing. Snipers moving up. Anti-tank and caught again. Another anti-tank and simply cleared out for Clinkeroth. He needs to be a bit better at keeping them safe. Artillery just gets 2 like that. Looks like the Knight's Cross will be running right into a nightmare dervish of American automatic fire. Lots of BAR submachine guns. Force retreat though. Does a bit, but the Knight's Cross are not completely out of it. Rangers are still there. Riflemen are still there. And there we go. Knight's Cross running. Veterancy free, giving them a health boost. And looks like the last one makes it out of there alive due to veterancy free. An absolute miracle. Bunker going up. And a King Tiger and commentator Nagano expertly commentating on the fact that there's a KT available. That's, or King Tiger, that's absolutely brilliant. Astounding insight. Yes, I'm sorry, I'll try not to be like that. Just a bit late here. So I seem to be getting a bit aggressive, sardonic even. It looks like things have turned around once more for Mr. Clinkeroth.
We are losing ground.
And there we go, nice oppressive fire from the riflemen, stopping the Volksgunners dead in their tracks, although the riflemen are still taking some losses. Oh dear. And the Volksgunners end up getting run off. In the center, King Tiger arrives and immediately knocks out 3 Rangers. Fighting continues though in the west. Pioneers running in, trying to secure the fuel point, but armored cars and riflemen could be their end, their demise, their doom, and there we go. Pioneer team lost. Artillery fire. Hoping to get that King Tiger, but the King Tiger is not even in the line of fire really. Or the sonar fire, I suppose. That was quite unfortunate for Clinkeroth, I'd say. All shots basically flew too far.
Light mechanized here.
Oh my goodness, he's floating a ridiculous amount of resources. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of territory left, but I really think he made a mistake there, of course, in floating resources much earlier, which of course might have given GP the chance to really get back. Oh damn, didn't really notice that. That's quite something. Of course, he's trying to retake some territories. That might work, though he needs to really get to work soon. Quickly, preferably. Rather move through the center. King Tiger there. Volksgunners. And Knights Cross once more. Volksgunners taking heavy losses. Point secured. Rangers could be called in. Although, again, I still recommend a tank depot. Getting some armor. Forced retreat. Or probably some tank destroyers by now. Come on, Clinkeroth, I know you can do it. Be a man.
They're taking one of our points. Reported.
Oh dear, that looks like might have been those Knights Cross actually got the sniper over there, I think. Yes, indeed. Knights Cross execution team takes care of that sniper. MG bunker to repair this area. M8 out of control. Pack got that, but the pack's going to get some artillery in its face in return. And there we go, lots of units on the way from there, I think.
Enemy unit down.
Getting 2 snipers, basically hoping to counter-snipe. That might be a bit excessive. And another anti-tank gun. No armor or anything. And again, he should not really be blobbing up his units like that when he knows his opponent has forced retreat. That's Cross moving up on the flank. King Tiger, Volksgunners, Ostwind holding in the center. And looks like further heavy losses for Clinkeroth as he advances. Again, he doesn't really have anything to stop this King Tiger. That's his major issue. To put it mildly. Or for that matter, the Ostwind. I'd also recommend... No, never mind. Cancelling that last sniper, but it's too late. Now he just doesn't need snipers. He needs something to deal with the Ostwinds and the King Tiger. The Königstiger, the Tiger 2. Few Volksgunners in the west, only 7 kills, but still veterans free, jolly good, I suppose. German sniper doing a bit. And the Ostwind just knocks out all of those anti-tank guns left behind by Clinkeroth. They're not really a mistake, they're not getting those back into action.
Enemy movement here. Looks like infantry.
GP moving through everything. Catching the anti-tank gun off guard and knocks that out while the Americans swiftly counterattack.
Germans are seizing territory.
Anti-tank gun sadly wrecked. Artillery fire once more into the nothingness of Langres.
Down to 300.
Let's speed this up a bit. Don't think there's much chance for Clinkeroth to turn this around. Nebelwerfer continuing to do its deadly song.
Look alive, people! We got crowd infantry!
And another off-map combat group, once more netting him several anti-tank guns and 2 rifleman teams. In this case, giving quite a few riflemen, but nothing can really sort of take up the fight on a more mobile avenue and perhaps knock out that Ostwind. Knights Cross with 16 kills. Another bunker going out for GP. More artillery fire. Missing the King Tiger more or less. Whoops.
Enemy unit down.
And the Ostwind goes down. Ostwind goes down. Absolutely nice. Rifleman quickly taking up position there, although getting sniped. And Knights Cross also moving up. King Tiger valiantly holding the center, though protecting the victory point from all American threat. And some riflemen going down to those Knights Cross, securing them with 19 kills now. And a bit of artillery somewhere. On the King Tiger, killing what looks like some pioneers, trying to repair it. Yes, indeed. Well, what remains of the pioneers, and heavy damage to the King Tiger. Absolutely heavy, almost down to half health. In fact, less than half health. Anti-tank guns, though, get sorted out. Knights Cross still a huge threat to the forces of Clinkeroth in the 1st Infantry Division.
The Huns are taking our territory.
More artillery fire and 28 kills on this sniper. Absolutely astounding. Mostly. Well, I won't say that word. And that looks like it. Game over. In dishonor, Clinkeroth retreats, having lost to the Panzer Grenadiers of the 2nd Panzer Division. And there we go. Well, I mean, what can we learn? I think the problem, though, for Clinkeroth, while he had a certain great start, was he wasn't quite prepared for the armor, and I think his handling of the snipers could probably have been a bit better, but also he was floating too many resources at certain stages in the game, and that really didn't work out for him. He was probably hoping for some sort of off-map combat group, but it didn't quite work for him, and actually ended up giving GP the advantage and allowing him to get back after several times making some pretty huge blows. Both sides, though, could have done with a medic station or a medic bunker. Otherwise, would probably help GP was basically his resoluteness, his ability to really get back, push back, and not underestimate those anti-tank guns, where, as you know, basically Clinkeroth kept forgetting about and not recapturing. So there we go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.